All right, the station is Plus TV Africa, and you are watching Today with John and Helen live. How was your week? And how are you coping with the fuel scarcity and the electricity tariff that has been increased like 300%? John, I bought some lights yesterday.
Don't
wow.
go there. Don't go there. I watch my meter every minute. I also topped up last night. I hope it isn't something happening. Well, Nigerians are the most accommodating people in the world. You bring them face to face with the most difficult situation, and they will weather a storm.
Exactly. I mean, if you see the queues today, driving from Ikeja, every filling station that some were selling, some were not dispensing, all through Victoria Island here, the queue was like something else. And a lot of these people would stay there for hours and eventually not get fuel. And so we took off fuel subsidy and we're back to queues. You're just doing when?
Because we've lived with it. There was a clip I saw that showed us with this fuel scarcity stuff in 1983 or something, and we're still where we are.
Yeah, but then fuel was okay. There were queues, but the price was reasonable, and it didn't dovetail into the other things. With fuel scarcity, foodstuff is house rent,
so
hospital bills.
So that's Nigeria.
Drugs in the pharmacies.
That's Nigeria for you. So we need these things in our system to keep us going.
Okay.
That's why
you need the things in your system to keep up. And very, very, very quickly, in the week, 2 points in Lagos here, our own mega city or smart city, Lagos, they discovered some apartments.
Oh, they only stumbled on them.
Stumbled on them.
They stumbled on them, and then I spoke with someone who's lived there for a dolphin for over 20 years, and he said, "Oh, yeah, they've always known about it." So yeah.
And they pay 250,000 naira to nameless landlords.
It's housing for
over
all.
The years.
Housing for all.
Housing for all.
Yes.
Okay, by the year.
Helen, let's get on with it. Let's get on with the program.
You see, when we laugh about these things, this thing pinches me inside.
No, don't let it pinch you. That's the only therapy for us as Nigerians to survive.
Okay.
Yeah, we make light of everything.
Like your therapy. My therapy at the moment now is 1 day at a time. I just made that decision that it has to be 1 day at a time. Okay. And no matter what it is, do not worry. Okay. Just try. Be happy. Be happy. Just pretend to be happy if you can.
Ellie, let's go on, John.
All right.
So, well, that's a wise counseling, 1 day at a time from Helen. And one way to keep stress and hypertension at bay. Okay. To one of the main reasons why we're here, navigating the galloping Nigerian economy as a female entrepreneur. Let's meet Mona Lisa Abimbola Aze, our first guest. She founded leather brand Mona Matthews in 2002 to meet the need for high-quality handmade leather shoes and bags. Our guest served with the federal government Leather Information Committee that was mandated to create a leather policy for Nigeria. A Faith Foundation volunteer and mentor, as well as an alumni of the Lagos Business School. It is time to meet and greet Mona Lisa Abimbola Aze, an accomplished entrepreneur and lawyer, and I find it difficult calling her Mona Lisa and Aze. I'd rather stick to my Bimbo. So Bimbo, you're most welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right, I can't wait to dig into the hustle and the success story of a female entrepreneur, especially at a time such as this. It's so good to have you join us today. Ekabo.
Thank you.
So, Bimbo, just look at me now. I want to check. I've known her actually.
All your life.
I've known her all my life. Let's see. And I have a few questions for you.
Okay.
And I'm sure Helen does
I
too.
do.
I'll give Helen the right of way at this time.
Okay. The first thing I'd like to know is in the introduction he said you were at, you sat on a committee where a policy for leather, whatever was, is a policy in place right now?
The policy is in place. At a point, we discovered that Nigeria has a lot of leather. And the leather that we call Italian leather actually starts its journey from the northern part of Nigeria. And then it's taken to Morocco for tanning, and then taken to Italy, and then comes back, finished product as Italian shoes and bags.
No way.
We also know that there's some tanneries. Many years ago, way before I started, I started 22 years ago, but way before I started, there were very active leather tanneries in the north, But at some point, the federal government introduced the export promotion grants. And so what people were doing was, they were doing just the first stage of preservation of the skins and taking it out as wet blue, and then they were processed in Morocco and so on and so forth. So the federal government wanted sort of like a backward integration, a situation where the leather was processed in Nigeria.
How long ago was that?
The committee, it was during President Jonathan's tenure. And so they wanted a situation where we would not just export the wet blue, but also process, finish tanning, and then begin to produce shoes for our own consumption and for export.
Is that happening now?
Well, in 2002, when I started, the federal government actually banned the importation of leather, finished leather goods.
Okay, to help.
To help, move this in the right direction. And so this was the process. I can tell you today that a lot of shoes are being made in Nigeria, a lot. At a point, I'm not sure if it still exists today, but at a point, there were trailer loads of shoes being exported from Lagos Island to the west coast of Nigeria. I've also been told, of Africa, sorry. Yeah. I've also been told that sometimes you might go to Dubai and actually go and buy a made in Nigeria pair of shoes.
All right, made from start to finish.
Yes, and then taken out of Nigeria and then imported back. But you see, a lot of these are underground. When I say underground, so when I first started, people were putting fake designer names on the shoes. They'll put Gucci, they'll put Armani, and so on and so forth. I don't know if Armani makes shoes, but you get the point. So, and I was like, no, we're not going to do that. Okay. We need to let people know that these good quality shoes are made in Nigeria, by Nigerians, for the world.
Okay.
That's right. Okay, now let's come back to where we are now, right? I want to ask you, how has the current economic climate in Nigeria, impacted your business operations, particularly in terms of the high cost of production materials? Because I see that as a gate that we have to go through.
Yeah, so one of the issues we have in the industry is that almost everything, actually practically everything that we use to make the shoes and the bags are imported. So there's a considerable amount of dollars involved in our ecosystem. Everything comes in. Now, when you're shopping for material and you want to buy the best, you're forced to pay whatever the market is saying. Do you understand? And that affects us. It makes our products more expensive. But the fact is that when you put our products beside imported products, people have found that these shoes, they stand the test of time. People have found that they made in Nigeria, and I'm not just speaking for myself, I'm speaking across board. People have found out that the average made in Nigeria pair of shoes lasts long. And people have begun to understand that it's easier, or it's better to choose what we are making, and we keep spreading that gospel, and more people are receiving it. And it's not just Nigerians. The Japa favors us as well, because just the way Nigerians want to eat their ogbono and they want to eat their egusi, they also want to wear their Nigerian clothes,
Okay.
and they
Yeah.
want to wear their Nigerian jewelry and shoes and bags to go with it.
That's
Oh.
good to know.
Because it's a whole ecosystem. It's a whole lifestyle thing, you know.
Yeah.
So when you see, just look at those videos where they're celebrating, even abroad. I mean, people are getting, I say to people, when we're young, when people were getting married, they would go abroad and do their wedding shopping. Now, when people are getting a wedding, when people are getting married abroad, they are coming to Nigeria to do their wedding shopping. It's the fact.
Really?
Yes, bales and bales of Ashoke
Oh,
are
sure,
leaving
I know,
our
yeah, sure,
shores
That's
Everything,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
with the food, the clothes, the jewelry, everything. Everything is, people are buying, you know. So if you look at the situation from just one dimension through a prism, you won't see the full picture. But if you step back and take everything in,
the bigger, the
yes,
full,
it's this is the season for Made in Nigeria, and that's the truth.
And you just said it, lifestyle. So it's a whole package.
Yes, it's the whole
It's not
package.
just the legs and the bags.
No,
it's
no,
everything.
it's everything.
That comes with it.
It's
That's
everything.
good
You
to
can dress from head to toe in totally
Niger.
fully made. Yeah, everything fully made in Nigeria.
know. Awesome, Jane.
Even your cosmetics, there are Nigerian, beauticians who are making cosmetics, good quality cosmetics. So you actually can.
Then
just-
you top it with Japanese hair or something.
Yeah, we will get there.
We will get there.
We will get there.
Yeah, we'll
But
get there.
even, I mean, for instance, this wig that I'm wearing is made in Nigeria. The hair was imported, true, but the wig itself was fabricated in
of course,
Nigeria.
that's
Okay.
it. That's
So I
what's
can
happening.
tell you that, I mean,
That you're 100%.
it's possible to be 100%. And so what we need to do as entrepreneurs is to look at it from that perspective and say, let's take advantage of the season that we're in now, and let it work for us.
Okay. So besides the fact that you said 100%, at the beginning you said a lot of leather things are happening and things are finished from here. So besides that, the fact that so many things that you need, for the job that you do, making shoes and bags, are imported, what other specific challenges would you like to share with us, as it relates to the woman or the female entrepreneur at this point in time? What are the potholes for you that are probably not there for the male entrepreneur?
I'm always the worst person to ask that question.
Okay?
Because I grew up between two boys. I climbed trees. I rode bicycles. I did the whole 10 years, played football, everything.
Okay.
So when people say, oh, I don't think like
How
that.
about other female entrepreneur that you've come across with?
So I listened in on the platform that took place on Wednesday. And I remember one of the speakers said specifically that this is the best time to be a woman in Nigeria. Because there is funding. Bank of Industry has a women's desk, a desk dedicated to female entrepreneurs. Access Bank has a loan. I'm sorry to mention the brands.
No problem, yeah.
Has a loan for women.
Specifically for
women.
Wow.
I know Alat, what do they call it? Wema Bank also. A lot of the banks, they've been mandated to support female entrepreneurs.
Okay.
I think where women have challenges, maybe in balancing the home and the business, and making it work. Because some of us grew up being taught that we needed to be the Proverbs 31 woman, But the understanding I have about that woman is that she was probably about 60. And if you read that scripture very well, she had house girls, she had maidens, she had servants. So she did the strategic thinking and had people working for her. And so one of the things I say to women is get help.
Okay.
Your domestic help is even more important than your office staff. You know why? Because if you're home doing the domestic chores, you are an entrepreneur that can earn 100 million a year. And you're spending that time just saving 40,000 naira a month because you refuse to employ a house girl to come and do the work for you. So for women, free yourself. Why do men succeed in Nigeria seemingly more than women? Of course, men are brought up to lead, right? but it's also because they have a wife.
They can just get up and go.
Exactly, just get your clothes, get in your car and go. There's a wife who is sorting the domestic side.
You need to travel tomorrow. No,
your bags are packed. You just, in fact, I heard about one man who he would call his wife and tell her what time he was landing at the airport. She will meet him with a new suitcase, take the old one, and it's off. Do you understand? So for a woman to succeed, if you listen to the stories of someone in particular, Ibuku Awoshika, that's one of her major strengths. She had support. She had very serious support system around her. Her mother-in-law lived with them. So there was always a responsible, loving adult in the home, while she and her husband had to go out and work, travel and all of that, you know. And then, so I always say to women, get support. If you can't afford someone to come in every day because of where you are, get someone to come in once a week to do the deep cleaning and the scrubbing. Outsource your laundry. You know, get someone to help you so that you can spend that time focusing and thinking about your business, about developing yourself. There's no point wearing yourself out and not being able to function in, you know, properly in that.
And taking care of you.
Exactly.
Taking good care
very
of you.
Important too.
And that's talking about support. Really, looking at support, we should maybe even extend it to government. Now, I mean, let's look at you as a business person, right, in the leather industry. How do you perceive government's efforts in supporting local businesses like yours?
So, the federal government, let's go back to the federal government, has set up quite a few initiatives that is helping people in my industry. Okay. I know that we've had a number of seminars and meetings, you know, on a national level of they've tried to bring together different people along the value chain, try to speak to us. I remember, I think 2 years ago, we were in Kano under the something organized by the ministry that works with training. You know, there's a leather training center in Zaria. You know, I forgot their proper name. You know, but the federal government did and still does try to bring us all together, sit down, listen to us and talk to us, you know. Okay. And so essentially there's a willingness on the part of the government to help, but we, the entrepreneurs, have to drive it. Okay. You know, we have to drive it. Now, the major problem I see is that we're all in our little corners trying to do big things. Okay. We as Nigerians and as Africans need to learn to come together.
Collaborate.
Yes, collaborate. We need to even collapse our small ships, you know, our small canoes and build a huge ship. Do you understand? Because one of the problems we have is that I have my strength, you have your strength. If we bring all of that together, it will make better impact. You know, so as far as government is concerned, government can only do so much, but we, the entrepreneurs, have to try and find a way of coming together to do a lot more together.
Okay. All right. It can be business as usual with a lot of things changing. We just talked about the fuel price. We just talked about electricity and so many other things changing from that, having changed now from when you started. So strategies and adaptations, you know, to meet with these changes that are constantly in our faces in the business scene. What have you been able to do in terms of this, your strategies, you know, to meet up with the challenges of the time? Okay, so as I said earlier, I usually like to step back and see things from a very wide perspective, you know, and I was sharing with him earlier that I had the opportunity to travel over Christmas, and I realized that the problem is not a Nigerian problem. It's an international problem. There's a global inflation. The war between Russia and whatever is affecting food crisis globally. It's not just Nigeria, you know. And the war in Israel is not helping either, and is you know. So the issue is, how do we place Nigeria inside of all that is happening? Nigeria is still the best place for me to be. Okay? So people say, oh, it's difficult to do business in Nigeria. I say, all the people that are Japai
how many of them have gone to do business? They've all gone to work. And some of them dare not tell you the kind of work that they are doing.
That's right.
Nigeria is one of the easiest places to start a business because the demands from the government, from us as entrepreneurs, is lower than it is in the UK, for instance. I spoke to my friends and people I met over there, and I was like, what? She said, if you know the tax that you have to pay, if you know the rigors you have to go through to set up certain things like setting up a school, so when you look at it from that perspective, you begin to thank God. This fuel price that we're talking about, how much does it cost to fill a tank of the same car in the UK?
We should not. I don't think we should go into those
Why not?
comparisons.
Why do you think? Listen. Why do you think people there? Why do you think they are pivoting to electric cars and things like that? How much your bottle of Coke? How much does it cost in Lagos? How much does it cost in the UK? How much is rent in Nigeria? How much is rent in the UK? What we pay on an annual basis is what they pay on a monthly basis.
We're still struggling with minimum wage. From 30,000 naira.
What
so
is the minimum wage
It's a whole new conversation. It's another area of
that's how
at the end of the day,
I'm answering your question.
Welfare packages and all of that help to cushion. So but that's the topic for another day, John, isn't it?
So where I'm going is this is how I look at my business.
Yes.
This is my perspective. Okay. I believe I'm in the best place at this time.
Okay.
And I believe that my clients are here. And so my responsibility is to make them see that I am producing what's best for their own needs. Again, I was sharing with him earlier about the quality of what we make. The quality of what we make is so high that people have come to realize that even some of the shoes they bought abroad by themselves have not lasted as long as some. I was at an event last year, a Chevron event, and one of their staff, I was introducing myself to her, and she was like, "Oh, I know you now. You made my wedding shoes 20 years ago, and I'm still wearing them."
Wow.
Do you get? So what I'm saying is that for the Nigerian to understand that you are not suffering.
Okay.
Well, you see, once your mind shifts to that, you begin to be grateful for what you have. Okay. And when you are grateful for what you have, you begin to appreciate it and use it best.
And it becomes easier for you to make progress. So I get you.
You know where all of this leads me?
We have like 5 minutes.
Yeah, it leads me to the next question, which is, do you do any mentorship at all? Because, what role, for instance, do you think mentorship will play in all of this? You spoke so well about our Nigerianness and all of that. How much of this are we passing on to others? Especially the younger generation.
Especially women, ladies.
Everywhere I go.
Yeah.
This is my message.
So you're an ambassador.
Yes, yeah. I volunteer for Faith Foundation, and whenever I have the opportunity to speak, I usually get invited to speak to entrepreneurs when they're about to start their entrepreneurship journey, And this is what I tell them. You are in the best place. You have a population of 220 million. You have 21 million fashionistas in Lagos alone. You have advantages that even these countries that look like they are good don't even have. A homeless person in Nigeria can sleep under the bridge and nothing will happen to him. The worst that will happen to him is he will get wet. You try that in Canada or in the UK that we're all talking about. California has 80,000 homeless people. 80,000. Their summer is so hot and their winter is so cold. Nigeria is one of the best places to be in the world. I'm telling you. And that's what I believe. That's what I preach. And that's what I will continue to tell people. And so when you believe that, your posture is that of a victor, And then whatever comes, and there are challenges everywhere in the world. That's the truth.
Your affirmations are positive.
It's the truth. I'm not deceiving myself. That's my perspective. And that's what I see. And that's what I go after. Do you understand? There's no money, there's no money. Have you seen the buildings going up in Nigeria? Have you seen the buildings going up in Lagos? Have you seen the skyscrapers? There is money.
Okay. All right. So winding up this conversation, I'd like to just take you, we're talking Lagos, we're talking Abuja, Port Harcourt, and the big cities. How are women you know, in business, faring in the smaller and remote parts of this country? Is there a synergy? Is there a way you reach out to them? Because you talked about it, that it's time for, you know, business people to come together. Yeah.
In the remote parts of the country, a lot of the raw materials that people use come from there. Let's take the cosmetic industry, the shea butter. These are produced by women. Let's take palm oil, food, egusi. That there were some years back when I think it was UPS also or DHL were complaining that their planes used to fly empty. Today they're not flying empty. They're going back with our food. They're going with, and these are things that women do, shelling the egusi, you know, cleaning the iru and stuff like that. Apart from that, women have always worked.
Who coordinates them?
Do you know that there are communities, they have their own, what do they call them?
Cooperatives.
Okay. In the villages, there's a way that
They have systems.
There's synergy, yes. They have systems, they have synergy, because that's how they've always survived.
Yeah.
And I think we like to paint the picture that it seems like it's easier to say that. But the truth is that if these things are not working, we won't exist today.
That's right.
We must exist too.
We must exist.
Come rain, come shine.
Yeah, they're working.
And I must say that you're flying the flag so well.
Yes.
I wish I could do this too.
You just change your mindset.
It's a mindset thing, yes?
Yes, and then you see, also choose what you listen to.
Yeah.
Choose what, I mean, I watched a TV program. I don't watch TV, to be honest. I watched a TV program online, and I realized that even from the journalists, there was a lot of negativity. Our Nigerian journalists need to begin to tell the real story of Nigeria. I see pockets, you know, of people, you know, doing videos and stuff like that. But we need to tell the real story. Nigeria, I tell you something. Nigerian honey is one of the best honeys in the world. The prawns and shrimps that come from our sea is one of the best quality in the world. Our leather is one of the best quality in the world. We have a lot.
You've said it all. So, I mean, you just won yourself an ambassadorial position.
We have a lot. We have a lot.
A final word to encourage someone out there who's probably not thinking like you're thinking. Final word.
My sister, because I think you want me to talk to the women.
Yes, please do.
Nigeria is a good place. Trust me. What the Naira can buy in Nigeria is a lot more than what the equivalent of that amount of money can buy, even in Ghana, even in Ivory Coast. A loaf of bread in Ivory Coast costs 2 times more than it costs in Lagos. So don't see yourself as suffering. See yourself that you're in a land of opportunity, and ask yourself, what can I do to earn more?
Okay.
Wow.
That's good.
Wow, what an I didn't know we were coming in for an inspirational speech, but we honestly, Mona Lisa, I think I'm getting
You're
used
going to Mona Lisa now.
We really do appreciate you for taking time out to encourage entrepreneurs generally and females in particular. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Well,
thank you for having me.
It should be in order to say that I would get to your space very soon and see what you have and see whether I can spend my hard-earned Naira and get something from you, especially that you said the quality is good and the money is small. All right. Thank you so much for your time. All right. Thanks for coming. Now, we make more progress on the show with a quick break when we return. With over 20 years experience in aviation and travels and impact in local communities, we shall be learning from the philanthropies Amala Ebenezer Mbamalu, our next guest. Please join us again.